Welcome to Chuntcast number 9. It's a magical number in my life, and I'm going to be joined by an equally magical man, Jamie Heeley. Now, we've done podcasts in the past through the Game Plug days and the Nova Stream days, but it's been some time, so I'm happy to have him on Chuntcast as a guest, a special guest, a very special guest. And we're going to talk about a few things. We'll get some negatives out of the way off the bat. Being Bethesda and their piss take on gaming, Ubisoft delaying stuff through to 2020, and our impressions on the Outer Worlds. So let's hook right in.
Oh, cool, Chunt.
Oh, yes, Uncle Chunty.
Right on. So this is Chuntcast number 9. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Going on, mate?
It's not like we talk every day, like we were just saying.
No, yeah, let's do this just for preamble. But yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm a tired human.
Yeah.
Getting on in the day here.
Oh, look, I'm a tired human, but on the other side of the clock at the moment.
But
So it's all right. Yeah, we haven't done this for a while, so it's pretty. I'm pretty neat. I'm excited about it.
yeah, it's been a good while since we did something like this. It's definitely not happened since I moved back to the UK. So we're looking at over a year. So it's a long while. But yeah, I'm happy to have a chat with you, mate. Always happy to talk to you.
Very good. Same. We'll get some negatives out of the way. I like to keep it positive here these days, but I've got some laughable things that might help laugh in a negative way. Bethesda just being Bethesda, as they always are these days. They've fallen from grace. I've noted this down as the more Bethesda's Fallout piss take, which is pretty much what it is. I didn't touch Fallout 76 when it came out. I could tell, even from the starter trailer when it was released, I was like, well, this just looks like Fallout 4. And they're just doing some MMO with it. And I was right, and it just fell on its ass. Did you have any experience with Fallout 76 at all?
No, kept it exactly the same as you said. I had no interest really, and as the day it came out, it became quite apparent that it wasn't what people were expecting. It wasn't up to Bethesda's standard. And as somebody who loved Fallout 4, I should have been really excited for that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. And it's just gone from one kind of fire in a can to another, hasn't it? Like there's not been an ounce of good press about that game, I don't think. Which is a shame, because for all intents and purposes it should work. It should work as both a Fallout game, as a live service. It should be interesting. It should have people talking about it, but they're talking about it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's always been the conversation, as you said. Like, I know a few people that still play it, or a few that used to play it. They gave it like a week or two at launch, and they're like, no, I'm going to come back. And they've come back, and it's still not what they expected. But now with this new subscription service, it's just, I can't believe it. I mean, $180 in Australian a year that subscription is going to cost. It's about $23 a month Australian. That's more than Game Pass. Now,
that's outrageous. I'm pretty sure it's only 10 here. I think it's £10, or what was it?
Jeez.
They say it was like $12.99 in the States or something like that. But either way, the price, that's outrageous.
Oh yeah, it's absolute bullshit. Like I don't understand how they've tried to validate this game in particular with a subscription. Like it's not a runaway success like World of Warcraft was, or anything that warrants any kind of subscription. Like I use Game Pass Ultimate, and I get all of Xbox's features, the Xbox Live and Game Pass and all that. And even that is such a good price, like $15 a month Australian for both or all services. Whereas this is more expensive for one broken game for a year.
And the key there is that it's broken. The key there is that there's not actually something worth paying for.
Yeah.
Like it's broken. It's garbage. They've released this subscription model before they fix the problems that they've already promised to fix. Like, kind of get your ducks in a row and then maybe try this for your hardcore fans. But
yeah, well, even
seems
still,
very cash happy.
I don't see how they can get away with it anyway. Like, how games these days don't usually warrant subscriptions. It's just not. If they were going for a free, if the game was free at launch, or free in general, and then they wanted to kind of pay for maintenance or charge for maintenance and upkeep, maybe. but you can play a lot of free-to-play games that don't need that. So I'm not sure how they're warranting this, considering, as you said, how busted it is. Like, you got people that are playing the game, paying for the subscription, and they're losing all their items, like in their vaults or whatever, in their inventory. It's all gone the next time they sign in. I mean, it's broken at launch again. Like this whole, what do they call it? Fallout First subscription.
Yeah, pay us to delete your things.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't understand how Bethesda's gone like this. I mean, they used to be one of the pillars of, you'd be super excited about what they're coming out with next. Or you'd be excited with the next world or the next story that they're putting together. And now it's like, well, every time there's a new headline for Bethesda, it's like, fuck, what have they done now? Like, it's just...
Yeah, it worries me for Elder Scrolls as a massive Elder Scrolls fan. Like, what on earth are they going to try and attempt with that when it arrives?
What was it? Is Starfleet the other one? Star Citizen? What? No.
Yeah, that's. No, they referenced it at E3. It's obviously they're not ready to really show it yet. It's but it's in development along with Elder Scrolls, and it's like I'm just past caring what they do next now.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, I'd be excited for a Skyrim and then for Fallout 4, and it's like Skyrim's obviously an institution. You can pretty much play that on anything you own, like a microwave or a toaster. I don't know, but
yeah.
Going forward from here, what is there to really be a bit excited about that Bethesda are doing? This has been a complete shambles. A lot of what they've done, even in the background this year, has not been great. Like, you don't think of their in-house developed stuff, but the studios they own, they haven't been putting out great things.
No.
The last Wolfenstein wasn't well received. Youngblood wasn't well received. They need a home run, and this is just more negative noise. So yeah, Bethesda, like, really, like, there's nothing positive to say about any of it, I don't think.
No, I would like to know the numbers of people that are actually still playing the game. I couldn't find that detail before we started, just to see on average of who they might be able to pull, or how many of these subscriptions they might be able to pull. I mean, I don't even think they'd ever release those numbers anyway, just out of sheer embarrassment. But I mean, there are some hardcore Fallout fans that are still playing it. It's one of those denial scenarios. Like, I would imagine, like DC Universe Online, I still dabble, but I'm not like hardcore in it, just because I'm not an MMO person. But the only reason I'm playing it is because it's DC Universe, and I would imagine there are still some people out there playing this game just seriously because it's Fallout and they love Fallout, and I can understand that, but it's sad. Like, I like playing bad games, depending, if there's something redeemable for it, but there's nothing to redeem here at all. To the point how they don't really plan out their releases, or they don't seem to anyway. I just want to touch on some random person just before this game, or just after this game came out, registered the domain for falloutfirst.com. And Bethesda didn't have the foresight to think about that, So they've got this big, like, fuck you website up, pointing out all the problems about this game and what the subscription does, and just giving the big finger to Bethesda. And I laughed my head off when I first found out this happened. I could not believe it. And if I ever meet that man, I would like to shake his hand. I really would, because that's just such a class act.
It is a brilliant troll. It's a brilliant troll, but I think to nail what they need to do with it, though, they need to bring the subscription down. Like, just take it down. Just stop being a subscription service. They need to fix everything that's wrong. They need to go away and go, right, let's just go quiet on the whole Fallout 76 thing. Release a few minor tweaks here and there as we can, and gradually build it into what we want it to be, because every single piece of noise they've attempted with it has fallen on deaf ears. Like, it's just not... It's either that or just do something new, do something different, stop focusing on it. Like, this is a cash grab. Yeah, and it's nothing more than a cash grab. And they don't seem to have any shame in highlighting the fact that it's a cash grab. Like, there's no remorse there. Like, it's had missteps, but this is just a kick in the teeth for those people who actually care about the game. And there are obviously a few of them out there, because otherwise why would they be building this service? It's just not cool. It's none of it. Nothing about this story warrants any. It's okay to poke fun at it, but you have got to feel about the people who have pumped money into this game, and it's not a nice place for everybody to kind of be ragging on the thing that you like, right?
Yeah, true. But Bethesda have always been a bit like that with their games, though. Like, everybody used to think they were untouchable, even though their games were buggy and, you know, they'd fall over or they'd break. But it's just like, oh, Bethesda, you know, like Jim Sterling does. Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah, but
you know.
but it's been coming. That's what I mean. They only get so many free passes, right? So
Yeah.
I think the free passes are done, and I think they are getting judged on the lack of quality that they have in a lot of their products these days. So,
Well, for us,
well,
like
so
Destiny.
needs to go away.
Destiny, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been playing that for years now, and I've not paid one subscription fee for that, and it's a massive game, massive. And it's just a perfect example of like, well, how do you justify Fallout 76 having the subscription when Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 are just epic in scope and gameplay and everything? I don't get it. And like, you're the massive Destiny fan here, and I'm waving the flag at the moment.
No, but that's even that is its case in point, because we both play that game very differently, for different experiences. Yet you're right, neither of us have ever paid a subscription for it. I would, because I play it pretty much every day. But the fact that the way that they've tailored their content, not just this year's going well, but last year, you didn't jump in for a lot of the expansions until right at the end of the year, when it was like, oh, play a little bit of catch up, there's loads of stuff to do. I've heard this has been quite good. You didn't have to do it there and then. You kind of pay for what you want to play, whereas a subscription model indicates you have to keep paying to keep playing, which Bungie have done the opposite thing with. And don't get me wrong, I think what they've done this year has woken a lot of the people in the games industry up to the model that they've done. Now they have got a free-to-play version, and then they go, look, you pay for the bits of the game you want to experience. You want to do the new hot thing? It's got an admission fee, but here's 2 years of content from the start of when we launched this game. Have at it. That's your taster. That's your welcome to the world, and it's hundreds of hours. Yet Fallout 76 is still a fully priced game with a premium subscription on top of it. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No, absolute rot. Well, I'm sure we can go back and forth on our issues with Bethesda games and what we're thinking about and how much it's a joke, but I think everybody else is on the same boat. I think the general mindscape of like gamers in general are just like over it and sick of whatever Bethesda's putting out as far as this kind of stuff happening. So hopefully whoever's watching will make some comments below. I would like to know if anyone who subscribes here actually plays Fallout 76 and has any further insight on like if they've been burnt by it, or if they're still playing it, or if we've got the totally wrong idea and it's the most fantastical game ever and we just don't know because we haven't played it. I highly doubt that.
But, I'm fairly sure we're not wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, leave a comment below. I'm very interested to know. But next up, it's more kind of negatives, but there's a hint of positives. Hopefully we can turn it in there. So we'll just move on to the next topic now. Right on. So I'm not a massive Ubisoft fan. I don't really play a lot of their games. Very little of them out there on my lounge or on console are Ubisoft games. But I've appreciated what they've done. Jamie, I know that you're a fan of a couple of their properties. Assassin's Creed, I used to be a fan of that until it became just old hat and just the same thing over and over again, different place, different time. But now we're hearing that Ubisoft are going to be pushing most if not all of their major titles, major games until April 2020 or later. I have a more positive take on it. I know they've got stakeholders and all that kind of stuff that are trying to spin it a certain way and make it sound like it's the players' fault that they don't understand the games that they're making anymore. But I kind of think it's more of a positive as far as the company goes, trying to sort their heads out just based on what the landscape is like these days, and everybody's over. Well, not everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, it's a broad brush, but a lot of people, like me, for example, are kind of over this live games thing. Like, everything has to be a live game or a live service experience. I don't subscribe to that kind of gameplay very much. I'm more of a single player experience or something I can play over a weekend and get it done. There's very few games like the aforementioned Destiny that I'll play and keep coming back for, because there's just, I don't need to explain how good that game is. But for you, Jamie, I know that you play some of their games. What's your take on that, if any? Like, do you have a particular point of view on this that's maybe positive or negative?
Yeah, same as you highlighted yourself. It's quite positive. I agree with the sentiment that they put to market, and they've gone, look, we need to address what we're doing, because a lot of the community's feedback has been that everything we've done in the last year has been very samey. It hasn't hit the right notes. It hasn't hit the right sales numbers for us internally. And you go, right, well, that's kind of like, so the Division 2 came out, and the Division 2 was fantastic. It's the best launch state a looter shooter has ever been in. And when you think of things like Anthem hitting the market this year as well, closely followed by the Division 2, it highlighted just how poor Anthem was. I mean, if it needed highlighting anymore. Yes. But Division 2 launched in a great state. It was looking positive, and then it just kind of tapered off and fell away to nowhere. Like, they want the Destiny money with that. They want that live service. It has raids, it has multiplayer events. It's very console oriented, even though the PC version is largely the most played. The player base is the largest on the PC. But then Ghost Recon came out, and it's like this breakpoint thing. It's like, right, what are we doing with that? Because it looks and plays very similar to both Wildlands that came out a few years back, which I think we actually played through the first half of together, and then went, this isn't going anywhere for either of us.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then this one, and they're kind of like, oh, it's going to have like live service events, and it's like, well, what differentiates this from the Division? And it's all very mixed messaging, and people just wound up not really caring for either of them. There's been a lot of pushback about Breakpoint. I haven't played it, so I can't really pass judgment. It doesn't interest me. I haven't even been back into the season pass that I have for Division 2, because again, like, I lost interest. Other things have happened since then. They didn't keep the momentum. So I agree with everything they've said. Let's take things back and just figure out what we're doing with it. Make sure we don't make the same mistakes and kind of message everything the same. I'm keen for Watch Dogs. New Watch Dogs looks good. But then they're going to fall into a trap by delaying that, I think, where they were going to get out ahead of Cyberpunk. Very similar, like futuristic hackery, like hack the planet kind of vibe, and now it's going to come out after.
Oh, okay.
And it could mean it's dead in the water, because you'd think that a lot of those fans are going to cross-pollinate a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's risky, but it's sensible. They could have just rushed everything out and had everything full on, and just been average. I don't think they want that. So yeah, take your time. Go away for a bit. There's enough games coming out. Like, yeah,
I was going to say, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with going away for a bit. Like, besides maybe losing a bit of coin, but they're already losing a bit of coin, which is half the reason why they're doing this. Because if there's more people like me out there that don't care about these games that they're making, like, I can't invest the time, even if I wanted to, into 30-40 hour run or whatever during the week, just to get all the good stuff, and then paying for any microtransactions, whether it's cosmetic or not. Like, if every game is like that, you just can't play them all, or you go broke doing it, I remember Ubisoft, they used to be just pumping out just unique titles all the time, and they were their own single experiences. There wasn't anything else to it. Like, yeah, some of it might have been annualized, but they were still their own thing. It wasn't like this persistent world that you had to keep dabbling in. And I mean, you know me, like, I'm not a big player of those kind of games anyway, so if there's more people like me out there, it's obviously hurting them. And like yourself, you're like, what's it called? Not Destiny, the Division. You like that one as well, but I know a couple other people that play that game that kind of walked away a little bit from Division 2 because for whatever reasons, and part of their descriptions here was that they noticed some people not coming back to play the sequels of said games, because they played or invested so much in the first one, but they're not coming back for the next one, which I can understand.
But with the Division 2, they spunked their load a bit early with a lot of it, I think, because the majority of that content at launch, although the base game was fantastic and it had legs, but then they gradually started ramping out kind of new new world tiers. So you have like a bit like Diablo-esque. So you build your character up, you can then take on the next level. You build your character up again, you can take on the next level of difficulty. So they had their world tiers like they did in Division 1. And they released 4 of those before the first raid. So you had world tier 1 to 4. They released world tier 5, and then you have a raid as well. And then that was it. And it's like you just lose all the momentum you had. So without momentum, who's coming back? Like, I forgot about most of my experience. I forgot I owned the season pass until you're like, oh, we're going to have a talk about this. And I was like, oh, I actually have got the season pass for that. I should maybe go and see what it's about, but I don't have any interest in going back. I'm happy with the contained experience I had, so why should it then be a live service?
Well, that's right. I mean, just coming from my point of view again, of like, you know, recently I've been picking up a lot of these old games on older hardware like Xbox and 360, and I've just, every time I get one coming in or I order another one, it just reminds me of what we used to have. Like, there was just so many experiences that were on their own that I thoroughly enjoyed, and Ubisoft had a bunch of those, and you know, EA, they weren't totally messed up at that point, and it just reminds me of a time of like, this is what games should be. Like, yeah, there's places for Destiny and those type of games, but not every single one of them. Like, every company's like, right, we need this, we need a live service, we need to kind of get our whales kind of throwing money at us. And to the point of me kind of going back and spending more of my money that I could be spending on new games but on old ones, I've essentially almost checked out of this gen pretty much. Like, we talk about it, like, I barely play any new games. Like, I really infrequently do. Like, Outer Worlds is probably we're going to talk about it in a minute, is the newest game that I've played in a good while. And then before that, it's like I've come back to Destiny 2, and before that, Gears 5 and DC Universe Online, you know, like, and that's a 10-year-old game, you know. So I don't really go out of my way to play any of the new stuff, because I don't know, it just doesn't get me. And mainly because a lot of the ones that seem cool to me, like even Assassin's Creed, got to a point where it just got too big. I can't invest time in these huge games. I can't. So like, for me to want to experience more of a contained like 20-hour game or something, or a 10-hour campaign or something like that, that's more digestible for me. And I do hope maybe we get more of that in future, just for my personal selfish wants. But I don't know, man. I'm a bit jaded. It's probably a bit of a jaded perspective, but hopefully a valid one.
I'm getting the same way, man. Like, I like my big experiences, and I like to lose myself in 80, 90-hour kind of adventures. But the live service thing, like, I only have room for one. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you got things happening in your life, like either, you know, becoming a dad this year, like you lose a lot of hours to that, and it's like, right, I've got time for one thing. So the one thing I've got time for is Destiny. I don't need another one of them in my life. What I need is exactly what you're saying. You know, you get that 6 hours over the course of a weekend, and you go, I can play and experience this piece of entertainment. And if I come out at the end of that having spent, well, what is it, $80, $90 Australian for comparison on that experience, and it was a good 6 or 7 hours experience, I'm not butthurt by that. I think I got value for money.
Yeah, it's like $10 an hour.
Give me more. Give me more of those things. Like, exactly, yeah, more than a movie.
Yeah. Look, yeah, I think part of me is just like, as you say, the huge experiences, they need a lot of time. But for me, when it comes to these new games, it's like, oh god, it's a daunting prospect of like, yeah, this game looks sick. Like, I'm interested, but in the back of my head, it's like, oh, this is going to require like 100 hours out of my time, and that's enough for me to go, I'll see you later, you know. And Destiny 2 is probably the only one that I can kind of juggle around that I'd want to spend my time in. But yeah, look, Ubisoft, it's a bit sad because they're one of the few respectable developers left that aren't totally screwing themselves like EA. Like, these guys still, from my point of view, I don't know any of the back end stuff that's happening behind the scenes, or they just don't seem to have any of those kind of games that are always in the news, like FIFA with the cards, like the trading cards,
the microtransactions.
Yeah, the microtransactions, and EA just doing EA and Bethesda doing Bethesda. Like, you don't really hear Ubisoft in the conversation. But look, who knows? As we said just before, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they'll come back in 2020, restructure, and hopefully be the bastion for the new era of gaming that isn't trying to suck us all dry.
Oh man, I'm still really excited for Watch Dogs. Like, one, it's set in the UK, so it's a good setting. It's a bit different to the US settings they've had. Watch Dogs 2 was great. Like, first one was, you know, it had its issues, but I'm still excited for that. I hope that they eventually manage to release that pirate game. Skull and Bones. Like, that's just gone dark, hasn't it? But yeah, they've got things coming out that seem quite interesting. We'll just see how they reposition it and how they reposition their messaging.
Yeah, and one of the most unlikely games I'm actually keeping an eye on is that Roller Champions. It's like a roller.
Is that the
ball.
roller derby thing?
Yeah, roller derby, rollerball kind of thing. It's like Rocket League, but rollerblades, rollerball thing. I don't know, something about it. Just, I don't know. I liked aggressive inline on the Xbox as well, and I used to rollerblade when I was younger, so maybe it's just that. But I don't know. Looks
Take you back
cool.
to your youth.
Looks a bit of fun, but yeah, look, I don't know. Hopefully they come back positive, better, being the bastion for the new era. I'm all about it if they do. But until then, we've got something nice that we can talk about at the moment. Something that's a beacon of hope for a lot of these developers out there. We'll touch on that now on the next topic. Rightio, so end on a positive note, as I usually try to with these. The Outer Worlds. I'm just going to start by saying my initial thoughts on the game when it was revealed was, oh, another Fallout. That was my initial kind of, oh god, okay, here we go. I didn't know what to expect. It was pretty low. I found out the creators of the original Fallout game were behind this, and Obsidian doing Fallout New Vegas. I'm like, alright, it's just another one of those kind of games. You know, it's probably not the right first impression that they wanted from someone, but that's how mine was. Now, I had low expectations coming into this game. I didn't want to pay for it. It wasn't on my radar to buy in full price. And then it was announced that Obsidian had been acquired by Microsoft Studios, so now they're part of the Xbox Game Studios family. And I was like, oh, okay, now it's come to the Game Pass. I think I'm going to dabble in it. And that's literally the only reason why I even started playing this game. I have some thoughts about it, but I think I'll hand it to you, Jamie. I think you might be a little bit ahead of me. So what are your thoughts and impressions, or anything, pre-game and after game?
Pre-game, identical to yourself. I saw it, I was like, that looks quite cool, it looks quite artistic, but it looks like a bit of a Fallout ripoff. Obviously it's the guys that originally invented Fallout, so fair enough. But yeah, largely uninterested. And then I saw that it was coming to Games Pass on PC because rip my Xbox.
Oh, yes.
But I saw that it was coming out on that. I was like, oh, I'll install it. I'll see what it's about. Started to hear kind of murmurings that it was very, very good. Played the first like 20 minutes and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered kind of throwing the time into this that I need, but persevered. And yeah, 6 hours later, I was like, well, shit, I've been playing this for a while now.
Nice.
And I still carried on because I wanted to make the next big decision in the game to kind of affect the world before I called it quits. But I'm loving it. Like, it's what I'd want from a Fallout kind of spiritual successor. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, which is rare these days. It's better than I had any expectation for, and I got to play it for nothing.
Yep. Oh, it's crazy, man.
I'm going to keep on playing it.
Yeah, I'm happy to keep on playing it too. Like, I don't want to say anything spoilery, but I'm off planet now.
Yeah, snap. So am I.
Yeah, and I docked somewhere, so that's where I'm up to at the moment. Like yourself, I got to a point where I didn't realize it had been a large amount of time of my afternoon gone yesterday. Like, I think I started playing at about 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was like, oh shit, it's dinner time. And that's good. I haven't had something like that in a while since Gears 5. that's really made me just lose my time without knowing. And I'm quite invested in this world. The voice acting is great. Like the characters are, they feel like people, like the way they talk and characterize. There's a couple of people where you're like, the choices you make are like, I don't care because this guy, I just don't like this guy. Screw him, And I find myself being more myself in this game than many others. Like in Fallout 4, I used to I tried to be the good guy, Whereas this one, some of the responses aren't very they're very specific and very characterized responses that you get to choose, to the point where some of them are exactly what I was thinking at that time, and it's great. And obviously it's designed that way, but I love it. Some of the choices that I've had to make, I've literally sat there and thought about it, for a good 5 or 10 minutes before I've done it. So I'm pretty invested in this game. I'm very excited to keep playing it. Graphically, it's more than I thought it was going to be. I don't know how long this game's been in development for, but it's very pretty. The character models and the faces and the lighting, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if this game is HDR enabled. I couldn't see any settings, but I don't even know if it needs it, because I'm playing it on my Xbox One X and it looks like pretty stunning from my point of view. How's it shaping up on PC?
I'm the wrong person to ask because it plays really well, but the ultra wide support for it isn't excellent.
Oh, yes.
And I'm trying to play it on ultra wide, so the gameplay is ultra wide, but all of the cutscenes get letterboxed from the sides. It's not a deal breaker, because they have that kind of spotlight effect on the characters to make you kind of hone in on what they're saying anyway. So it's not a deal breaker. It just means it's very, very intense to run. So it's either dial back the settings or deal with kind of choppy frame rates. But I've actually still got them cranked, and I'm just playing it around, I think, between 40 and 60 frames a second, which is fine for a game like this. I'd rather have it looking its best. But yeah, it runs really, really well. Like you said, it's absolutely gorgeous. And in terms of just touching back on something you did say, no spoiler territory, but the key character from the first place you go to when you first start the game, he didn't survive my playthrough.
Nice.
Which I love that's an option. It's like, previously in other games that person would be an NPC and you couldn't touch them, and I was just like, you're doing my nutting, mate. Like this is done. Like, that's great. See you later.
Yeah.
It's very funny that we both took the same approach, and we haven't spoke about that kind of prior either. But it's just very interesting that we did the same thing.
Yes.
But yeah, I love that. I love the player agency to tackle any situation how you want to. Is fantastic. And yeah, if I wasn't talking to you right now, I'd be playing it. I'm actually excited to get back to more of it. So that's a good feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look, just from an Xbox fanboy's point of view, I mean, it's pretty good that these guys have come into the fold now. It's just another bolster to the company, and I'm very excited to see, with Microsoft money and support, like what they could do next. Like, do they do another one, or do they just keep expanding on this game, or do they go, all right, we've got this blank check, do we just make something new? At the moment, I think the Outer Worlds, it's even though it's only been a couple of days, I think it's already a strong property for them not to just leave behind. But I could imagine there might be some difficulty in future about what platforms it's released on. Like, they fulfilled the need for this first game, like they've done with other games that Microsoft has acquired, or the studios that they acquired. The games that they were currently making came out on said, PlayStation 4 or PC or whatever, or Switch. So what happens after this one? Do they then just become solely exclusive for, if Outer Worlds 2 does happen, does that become an exclusive only? That's the question I've got in the back of my mind at the moment. As I was talking to my brother last night about it.
I don't think they care enough.
Oh, probably not, but I just think, just from my brother's point of view, he's a PlayStation guy, and he's keen on picking this up. And talked about it yesterday of what happens next? Is there going to be an Outer Worlds 2 because they're owned by Microsoft now? And I said, yeah, I know, that's a good point. So we'll have to find out. But look, obviously it would come down to how this game performs as far as sales and Game Pass users. But it's just another flag in the cap for Game Pass. Like, as we both said, like, we probably weren't going to jump in straight away until it came to Game Pass.
I wouldn't have spent full retail on it. No way.
No.
I wouldn't have spent full retail price at all.
No, I probably wouldn't have picked it up until it was on sale somewhere. But just the fact that it's there, and even some co-workers at work, I was like, hey, I've preloaded The Outer Worlds at home. Oh, is it out? I said, oh, it comes out, Friday or whatever it is. Oh, wow, cool. How'd you get that? So through Game Pass. Oh, bloody hell. These guys are on PC or PlayStation. And I'm like, yeah, just, it's just a good service. Like, I'm an unabashed Xbox fanboy, so I don't mind just saying this kind of stuff to people, but I can't believe it. It's such a good service, and I don't find myself having a problem paying for the ultimate package either. And I'm hoping this might just get rolled over to xCloud as well, because I could imagine playing the Outer Worlds at work, in my break or whatever, through my phone. I've got Game Pass. I've just got the game in the cloud and sitting there on my phone, playing a massive game like Outer Worlds at work, at my desk, on my phone. I mean, it's a good time to be alive. But this kind of game, it just shows you can have a massive experience like this, a massive story experience, without it being watered down or have content left out, or that we don't know of. But at the moment, it just seems like it's released as its own like full game. And I don't know if I didn't see any anyway. I didn't see any like pre-order expectations of like, if you pre-order this game, you get this costume and this DLC pack, and like, there's none of that I could see. It's its own thing, and I love that about this game. And it just harkens back to how I want things to be. So it's definitely shining.
You know what else there's none of in it?
Yeah, it's definitely shining a light on these bigger guys that are just filtering out all their content from their games.
There's also no bugs. That's something else there's none of. I haven't encountered any bugs, any graphical glitches, any Bethesda bullshit. Like, it's just amusing. It makes the story about Bethesda all the funnier this week, just given that this is a Bethesda-ish type of game, and it's released without all of that nonsense that you were just talking about in terms of pre-order this, do that, give us extra money for this, and it's current. Well, as I said, I'm only about 8 or 9 hours in, but there's no game-breaking bugs, there's no glitches, there's no people's faces melting off, there's no people clipping through the map, none of it, and it's on Game Pass Ultimate. Like, rejoice. I can't think of a single negative about it at the moment. The writing is, as you touched on, the writing's insane. It's really, really strong.
Yeah, that's great. I find myself taking to, I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but the first companion.
I know who you're talking about.
I found myself sympathizing with that person as a character, and really wanted to take her under my wing, just because of how she's depicted in the game. And I mean, that's good. That's good writing, and that's good storytelling to make someone go, oh, come on, let's go. I'll take you under my wing and we'll go have an adventure, kind of thing. And then you come across other characters and you're like, I just don't like you.
Yeah, in the first few hours as well, though, that's got to be said. It's not like that character's built up for hours and hours and hours. It's in the first kind of 2 hours of the game you experience that companion, and it's it lends such massive credence to this. The writing's excellent, the setting's excellent, but I believe the characters. I already care and I'm invested about characters in the game. Like, they've done a really, really, really good job. And looking at the solar system map, it looks like it's going to be quite huge. I'll just say that. I'm pretty excited. It does. I think I've heard around 30 hours for main campaign completion with some side questing.
Totally fine. That's
perfectly acceptable for me as well. I'm sure there's hundreds of hours there for the people who want it, but I'm happy just to have that contained narrative experience and walk away from it and go, that was great.
Yeah.
Which I think I'll get from this.
Yeah, well, some of the side quests I left behind because I was like, well, these characters I don't really care about, or they just didn't win me over, or the story that they were telling to me I felt at the point where I got to the point where I was going to go off planet, I felt comfortable enough leaving them behind without caring. You know, I was like, sort yourself out, I'm gone. I got a few things from a couple of characters that I thought what they were describing sounded it might help me before I go, and I did those quests. And while I hopped on my ship, I went through my log, my journal, and I was like, so what else? These other quest lines, you know. And I remember the characters, and I'm like, nah, stuff them. I can't wait to get away from this place, you know. And I'm pretty there. I'm pretty right in this game at the moment. I love it. And yeah, it's pretty much what I plan to do today after I put this edit this together. And that's great. And that's good to. This is what gaming should be to me. Should be just be excited to live in a world for a bit and not have to devote your life to. You know, it's not a daunting experience. You can pick it up whenever you want, and not have it fall over in your face. And you don't have to look at
fall out of your ass.
Oh, nice. I'll pay that. But yeah, so yeah, look, we can't really talk too much about it, obviously, because we're only so far in, but there's obviously spoilers that we can't really reveal that'll take away the experience. But highly recommend the game. Whether you have Game Pass or not, just pick it up. Trade in some games if you have to. It's definitely worth the experience. I'm sure you can find some games that you don't play anymore that you can trade in to get it.
Or get a month of Game Pass for $1 or £1 or whatever they charge him for a month of Game Pass and see if you like it.
Exactly right. Fantastic. Cool. So yeah, well, we're done talking about the Outer Worlds. What I will wrap up with is, look, I think we all can come to the conclusion that games are supposed to be fun. And whether it's, you might play some of the games that we've kind of poo-pooed on today, and any kind of related experiences and other related games. For me, I can only speak personally about how I feel about these things, and it's up to you whether you get the enjoyment out of some of these live services games. It might be for you. You might have grown up in that experience. It's been like 15 years or something since the 360 has been out in the PS3 era, and you've just become, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old or 15 years old now, and the games that are out now is what you know, and that's fine. It's probably not ideal. There are better things out there, but if you enjoy those games and you don't pay for the content, or you're happy to throw money at it, that's on you. But I don't want to ever kind of, you know, take away from someone's enjoyment from something. So if that's what you like playing, that's what you like playing. This is just someone who's grown up from playing Mario on the Nintendo Entertainment System back in the day to now. So I've seen a lot of it, you know, and I know how good games can be, and I'm disappointed in where it's gone to. So I just wanted to kind of tack that on the end. Don't want to have any kind of negative takeaways. Just play games and be happy, basically. Cool. So yeah, that's another one in the bag. I really had a good time with this one. It's good to actually be able to converse with someone. I'm quite used to talking to myself in most days, but it's nice to have someone on the other side to talk to. So I do thank you, Jamie, for joining me.
Happy to listen to you, mate. Happy to listen to you ramble.
Nice.
Nah, pleasure, mate. As always.
No, I appreciate it. It's good. We'll wrap it up. I'm Uncle Chunt. That's Jamie. You can find me on unclechunt.com, and all my socials, Uncle Chunt. So you'll probably find me somewhere if you type that in. Yeah. I don't know how to wrap this up besides saying, Jamie, thank you very much. You're beautiful as always. We'll hop on Destiny sometime, and you can be that massive, super overpowered guy showing through the little newbie running through all these scary places. You can be that guy for me.
I'll carry you through everywhere, mate.
Yeah.
I'll take you through everything.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Indeed. I personally would like to thank Jamie Heeley again for joining me at such a late time in his evening and an early point in my morning on a Sunday. It was great to have him on. Always happy to talk to Jamie about anything, and hopefully you enjoyed the Chuntcast today. As always, I'll be ending this with the Posy Peeps slideshow for all you nice people out there that have left comments or nice comments or just anything positive in general. So I hope to see you there. Hopefully I'll find some. I always dig them out as I'm about to do it. So if I don't find any, it means that there's a problem. Anyway, you can find me on UncleChunt.com, Uncle Chunt on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Mixer. Yeah, that's the other one. Not on there very often, but I play games on there sometimes. Until next time, be kind to each other, look after yourself, be the better person. Come back next time and we can have some more laughs and a good time. Toodaloos.